Give a round of applause, and 12 minutes are all yours. Thank you.
So before we look at the future of learning and development, let's take together a quick look back. And if we look back, actually it's a little sad. Because yes, there is in almost every company, there is a department called Learning and Development. And they have a great task because they're supposed to develop human capital. But unfortunately, it seems that this kind of capital hasn't got that much attention from top management, and therefore there's also not much budget. And if on C-level you have an HR position, then it's usually reserved for a woman, which doesn't encourage us to think that this position is considered to be very, very important for that company. So the good news is that this is the past. Because in the future, learning and development will be really a critical success factor for companies to survive. And why is that? Maybe you also have the feeling that things are going pretty fast in this digital revolution. And I listened to Joe Kesa, CEO of Siemens, 2 weeks ago in Berlin, and he said, well, we're just driving first gear right now. Acceleration is just starting, and the speed of change will hit us very, very hard. And that is still the easy part, because we don't only have to cope with all these technological changes that change our markets rapidly, we have at the same time to reinvent ourselves. Or to put it more exciting, we even have to disrupt ourselves. Because when we don't do it, then others will do it that have never been on our screen when we did a competitor's analysis. So that means that every person in the company will be involved with that speed and with that need to define new products, to define new ways of work, to define new methods. I mean, this is just something that cannot be done top down. You need every person in the company to make a contribution. But in order that they can make a contribution, they have to be trained for that. They have to be enabled to make that contribution. So we definitely need new competences, and the other thing is we will re-qualify several times during our working life. Let's take, for example, one single employee out of thousands of employees of Deutsche Bahn. This person used to walk the tracks of the train and to look what bushes have to be cut and what has to be taken care of so that the train can ride safely on the tracks. And that same person who was used to walk its tracks tomorrow has to steer a drone which will do the same thing. So that is requalification. And when I think about my vocabulary, when I talk about my daily work, I wouldn't have understood myself 5 or 8 years ago, because my vocabulary has changed so much, because the products we're selling are different. The marketing we are doing, it's different. The way we do it, with what methods do we do it, is different. The technology we work with is different. The way we work together is different. So everything is changing, and we will requalify, and not only because of that, but also I myself didn't take artificial intelligence very seriously, let's say, until maybe 2 months ago. But then it hit me, and it was like, oh my God, of course, artificial intelligence will play a huge part in our life, and they will do a lot that we do nowadays in our jobs. So either we define and find new jobs for us, where we have to be skilled for, or we have to do the jobs that we do right now differently in the future. So we're talking about speed, we're talking about change, we're talking about uncertainty, we're talking about ambiguity, we're talking about ambidextry, and from there we're looking at how traditional training and learning works in companies. And you all know how those traditional trainings work. They have always been local. That means independently for each branch of a company that might work globally and internationally. When you were lucky, you got 2 to 3 trainings a year, and they took maybe 1 or 2 days. Of course, they were analog. There was a classroom in a hotel with a trainer and a beamer and a flip chart. And yes, of course, also the chance to exercise and to exchange ideas. But the trainer in the classroom, he had to sign in a fixed training design beforehand to learning and development in order to be engaged to do that training. And then when he was in the classroom, well, he was actually the hero. I mean, he or she was the person who knew it and who told it to the others. And then people left the training and they had all these great intentions. Yes, great, I will do this and that. But unfortunately, these intentions diminished within the next 2 to 8 weeks. So I guess there is no wonder that we nowadays in the companies, in the corporations, we think about, does that work for the future, the way we know it? And it's an exciting time because in the corporations, they really ask the fundamental questions nowadays. They ask the question, what are we going to learn in the future? And actually, we don't know. We don't know exactly, we're not sure what we shall teach, but it has something to do with change, with agility, with digitalization, with new ways of working together. We also have to learn to learn. That is very interesting because we're talking to the companies and they say, do you have something about learning how to learn? Because do we know how to learn very much on our own? Then we have to learn to share. We have to learn to share our knowledge, our experiences, and to share and to find out together with others. And so we discover kind of that the soft skills will be very crucial hard skills in the future. The question, why do we learn in the future, is very easy. Because we all have to become lifelong learners. And the question, how we will learn, that is the most fun question, because I really believe with all the new technologies and with all the new media, we can learn in multiple ways in the future. And we can really bring learning and development to a next level. So we will have the chance to learn very much also on our own, but with fantastic resources, with videos, with artificial intelligence, with augmented reality, with virtual reality, with very complex and multimedia learning programs. We will not go like 1 or 2 days for twice a week to a training, but we will engage in learning journeys or in corporate MOOCs that last for weeks. And why is that so? Because if you really want to build up a competence, if you really want to find a problem solving, then you cannot do that in 2 days. You have to engage together for a long process of time. We will learn in flipped classrooms. That means that we will teach ourselves the basics and the knowledge. We will teach ourselves, and then from there we will go to the classroom and use the teacher as a coach, and we engage with our colleagues to find solutions to the problems we bring from our workplaces to the classroom. And of course, we will engage a lot in social learning groups, that is within the networks in our companies, that is on Twitter, that is on online courses that we do with people around the world outside the company. Where and when? The question. Well, anywhere and anytime, because we will take much more responsibility ourselves to identify what competences do I need to do my job in the future, and what is my competence level right now, and what do I have to do to fill the gap. So if we look past future, then we can say we go from local to global, from 2 times to permanent learning, from 1 to 2 days to learning journeys, from analogous to analogous and digital. We go from fixed training designs to bring your own topic. We'll talk about it in the training. We'll go from teaching format to coaching format, and from little connection to daily work to a competence development that is very closely connected to the praxis. This is 2 columns that I have from a very appreciated Twitter contributor, Lisa Rosa. I can recommend to follow her. And she says, you know, pre-digital age, digital age, the mindset used to be learning by heart, or as she says, buffet. The mindset of the future is try and error, or as she says it, rauskriegen. Ja, wir müssen einfach rauskriegen, wie Dinge gehen und wie wir Probleme miteinander lösen können. Und if that is the case, then there has never been a better time for learning and development, because learning and development is the core asset of humankind. And now we have the chance to reinvent it. And give me one more sentence, because
very short one. Very short.
Very last short sentence is that we as Pink University are very happy to drive that change with a library of competence and video-based trainings, with new coaching formats together with the public consultant groups, and to engage with our customers on a journey, trial and error journey, finding out what will be the next generation of learning and development.
Thank you very much, Britta. Start in the back. Thank you very much. I'm from Mika. I'm from public sector IT consultant. Thank you very much for your talk. It was very inspiring. I'm looking forward to such a learning journey. Could you describe how it actually look like? What does it mean? Do you invest every morning like 30 minutes? Or give us some ideas, like practically, how would it look like for somebody like me?
Yeah. Those learning journeys are characterized that the digital parts are on the same level as the analogous parts, you know, so it's not like, okay, do a little e-learning beforehand, or you don't even have to do it, and then you come to the classroom and that's where everything happens, every important. No, it's rather really a process that might last for 12 weeks or maybe even more. And you start with building up knowledge, which you will probably do with a digital learning, and you will find a group that you are learning with, you know, so you have a kickoff webinar with your trainer, who is also virtually online in the virtual classroom. He gives you the assessment to do this and that e-learning. Then you do this and you build up knowledge. And then you meet with the trainer again in the virtual classroom, and you exchange your experience. So he challenges you, like what does that mean for your daily life, for your daily work? What does that mean? And then he gives you tasks. That is very important to transfer it to the praxis. He gives you tasks, and then you practice it on your job. Then you meet again and you talk about your experiences that you did on the job. At the same time, you're building up learning tandems, so a colleague and you work together and you get a certain problem and you will solve the problem meanwhile. So it's a mixture of digital learning media material, virtual classroom or real classroom, and social learning and individual coaching by the trainer, or the trainer who is rather a coach in the future.
Next question.
Hi, I'm from the computer science industry, and I think this is a very specific area in terms of learning because we can find all the resources on the internet. So I don't know if my question is a bit off topic, but how do you explain that this industry has this specific way of learning, and what makes this industry special compared to the others?
That industry is the fathers and the mothers of e-learning. That makes them very special, because I think because you can teach like how to program and how to use the software and how to use programs. You can teach it, I think, much better on the computer than in the classroom. So that was just the start of e-learning. And then of course you have people who say, yes, okay, why not work with my computer? Why not work with my device? I mean, that's what I'm doing every day. So I think the people are very ready for it, and that's why it's so advanced, because the topics you are talking about, they have been developed for the last 20 years. The topics like communication, leadership, and so on were just developing them because people thought you can't learn that with digital media. You have to have classroom training. So you're just the forefront.
Another one.
Hey, another talk today suggested that we separate our careers a little bit from our employers. And one can argue that the same will happen with learning, where we don't learn in the company anymore, but individually. How, as an employer, do I make sure that my employees want to learn within the company and not just by themselves or outside of the company context?
You can do that if you just talk about it, and if you give some settings within your, because when it not happens, then it's because people don't know when they can do it, where they can do it, and if it will be appreciated if they do it. And so we have to transfer a few truths that we have from traditional trainings to the company, because when I'm not sure that I really may do my learning now on the job, looking at videos while other colleagues are walking by, then I will not do it. And you really have to spare time. Actually, I like e-learning in production companies because they don't have a computer. So they have a room where they learn. So when they walk from their machines to that room, everyone knows, okay, he's learning, I won't disrupt him. No, that's much more difficult when you work on your computer anyway. But I guess that's the basics.
Thank you.
Another question. Another round? No? Okay. Then, yeah, 30 seconds. I mean, you can already ask any personal questions you have for her later on. Thank you very much for joining us. Just a hint for the organizational stuff. The awards were going to be downstairs in the second and third level, that big stage now, female and male founders. They will praise and they will get a very heavy award, I trained, yes. And we will of course have speakers like you pretty much all day today still, right? A few minutes, right? A few minutes still here?
Sure,
yes.
sure, yeah,
For
of
questions,
course,
yes.
of course.
So
yes.
thank you very much.
Thank you.